It's wonderful hearing everybody's just open-hearted sharing, and I thank all of you for that. And Kunal, you set the tone there. So, and I really admire so much what you're doing. I'm going to take on the thread of marriage is ending, and I also
Not this one. No.
yeah, I
Okay.
also was in the experience of my husband leaving me. And then Ari and I had been friends for a long time, and we discovered that we were more than friends. And so we got together. And if it wasn't for Ari, I wouldn't be here with all of you. I wouldn't be living in Half Moon Bay. I wouldn't be, experience service space and growing in so many wonderful ways as being a partner with you, Ari. So I just wanted to say that, and due to Aria, again, I get to share this video conference with all of you. So, thank you.
Now it's my turn to be embarrassed.
Yay!
Let's see. Oh, Jyoti, you wanted to say something?
If nobody else needs the time.
There are a few more people who haven't shared yet, but go ahead in a quick share and then we'll get on everybody else. Yeah.
I've shared meditation space with Kunal for years, never had a chance to really talk at length, but silence has its own language of communicating. There was one thing that he had said at a circle one time, which has become a practice with me. You get forwarded jokes and messages that you tend to accumulate, saving, thinking you might read them again, share them with somebody else. And at one circle, he said he just deleted them all. And I loved that. It was so liberating. I delete all my messages now, and I feel lighter for it. So thank you for that tip, now.
Maybe I could use that one. Thank you, Jyoti. Let's see, who hasn't spoken yet? Len, it looks like you're ready.
That detachment idea. We have a garage full of stuff we could delete. I think the times when my life changed the most from an old way was when Libby and I married, and I had to switch from trying to make other people like me from learning. And I became more of a learner and a listener and respectful of other people and really open. The other was in 1969 when our first child was born, Eleanor. In that same year, the photo of the Earth from space came to us from the space program. And that changed my life from me or even us to we, the larger we, the whole planet. And that helped me, caused me to be more alive and more generous. And I think everybody in this room understands how that is. Kunal, I just wanted to say how much I appreciated hearing your story. And I think the way you have discovered about education is more responding to how we have forgotten our story. If we've forgotten our collective story, we've forgotten the story of our religions and where they really come from. And we've forgotten where food and life itself comes from. And we're making decisions as if we have forgotten. And that you have helped students and everybody really begin to ask and to make educational experiential, which has really been missing. As somebody else said, that Libby and I and others come from a time when education was information going from the notes of the professor to the notes of the student without going through the brain of either. And so you have really changed that. And the last thing I want to say about you is you have shown how that there is both truth and information and spirit, and that you have known by your own spirit, you have released your own spirit and experienced joy, and seeing how one is not so good without the other, both the truth and the spirit. And thank you for being such a good model. And another way you express that is by putting humor in your lessons, like where does snot come from? And it matters. So thank you very much for making education joyful and more effective.
Thank you, Lynn. So let's see. So Jyoti had posted a suggestion, an interest in hearing more about your sort of childhood influences, Kunal, which we had talked about. But let's sort of save that for later if we have time, and make sure everyone has a chance to speak. Andy, I don't think you've spoken yet. Would you like to take a turn? You need to unmute yourself.
There it is.
No. Okay.
All of my adult life, I've worked doing. This ringing will stop in a moment. Hopefully, you can still hear me.
Oh, that's yours. Okay.
All of my adult life, I've worked doing environmental work, and the heart and intention of it was always service at some level. And it's really amazing the work that I've done. Connected, Kunal, you've taken your academic work and it's turned into something of joy and nourishment, and it's a beautiful, beautiful transition that happened. What I've found is so much of the environmental work I've done has been at the heart good work, but with tremendous dysfunction at many, many levels. The stress of the workers sitting in front of computers for many hours, and in public meetings, people treating each other. Oh my God, the darkest energies that you can imagine taking place in boardrooms and council chambers and boards of supervisors. And sometimes when we look at the big environmental problems, it's like, oh, the corporation. It's pretty easy to point to a corporation, but there's something beneath that. And had conversations with close friends more recently about this a lot, about what's beneath the problem at the corporation. And because it's not the heart of the problem. And the heart of the problem, I look at what the Buddha said: greed, hate, and delusion. And so in terms of this question of transition, I've had a major transition happening in my life in the last couple of years through loss and death of the person I was married to, my wife. How do we bring the love and the joy and the wisdom into life? And suddenly I feel like I'm dropped from the sky into service space, and all of this amazing content that comes in every day, and this, my first wisdom circle today, and these kinds of stories. And it gives me great hope to know that there is a swell of energy coming this way. And I feel like even though the work that I'm doing might not change on the outside, or maybe it will, I don't know, but I really want to continue to find ways of injecting the wisdom and the love and the beauty into the hearts of those that oftentimes have so much fear they perhaps feel that there's no other option but to get up at the boardroom and cause additional harm that is not moving toward coming to solutions. And so creativity and love will breed the kind of harmony and the beauty and solutions for the huge challenges that we face for all of humanity, which means all of our communities are the quilt pieces, that we need to stitch together. And so when I look at this video, I actually was flashing on, like, Americans don't believe in global warming. It's like, oy vey, it's like, how do we begin here if we can't understand the nature of the basics of science? How could we expand this model for the general public in the midst of 10 trillion videos that are actually might be more entertaining on YouTube of kittens jumping at the reflections or something like that in the mirror? So anyway, many different thoughts and questions there. I know that we only have 3 minutes. So I want to thank you, Kunal, for sharing and for your beautiful work and the joy that you're bringing into it. And I'm going to work on those Bollywood moves next time I look at it.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, and blessings to all of you. Thank you.
Great to have you with us. So let's see. So Ofu and Bradley haven't spoken yet. Oh, Fu, would you like to take 3 minutes to, share something on this theme of the time in your life when you decided that change was needed? You need to unmute yourself.
Thank you. This is a very, very interesting subject that has to do with my personal life. I think listening to reflections from all the participants, I can catch the picture of the team of the circle and what is on the desk. And from the question from Ira, I got married to Ola, my wife, in 2004. And we have 3 wonderful kids today. I remember before I got married to her, before I found her as my life partner, I have a deep need. And that deep need is to be fulfilled in life. I try to check up from my birth experience, from my childhood experience, through the time I gone through the primary school, secondary school, and when I came out from the high school, at that moment, I start asking one sincere question to myself. And that sincere question is this: what am I meant for? Who am I truly? What will give me joy in my heart? Is it to get married and have kids? Will this create that fulfillment in my spirit? When I got married, start having kids, I still have that need not yet met in my spirit. I must be sincere to you that I don't see that joy inside the deep down of my life, my spirit. I see something is missing somewhere. It's if I am faking my existence. It's if I am not. I'm not living, but just like existing, trying to either satisfy some traditional obligations to get married when you are the first son to your parents, and you see you are getting aged, matured, or now you have kids, or now you've gotten a certain kind of diploma from the high school that will allow you to get yourself included in economically to make a living. I still inside me see around me that something is missing. Something is missing until after years. In 2012, something changed in my life. 2012 became a year of change because in that moment, I start having a clear picture of what I am fashioned, made to become, to offer to humanity. Humanity became a responsibility to me, and I became consigned. What will I offer? When I identified a sociological problem within my environment, when I experienced a local war here in Ivory Coast, my life became. I wouldn't have.
Thank you. No, it's a beautiful story.
I'm sorry the time is too short, but
you gave us
we'll
a
have
good
time.
a good flavor, a good flavor of your story, and thank you.
Thank you.
What's so interesting, you know, you're sharing the theme that I think is so common to many of us of how something happened in our personal life caused us to understand what we were doing in our work in the world. Yeah. And Bradley, are you still there? I want to hear from you as well.
Yes, I am just sitting here in my car relaxing.
Relaxing in your car. I hope you're not driving. No.
No, I'm not. I'm not driving. We just pulled up at home.
Oh, good.
So yeah, the whole you know, what brought about change, or what made me sort of want to change course, I guess. A lot of it, like things go on in my personal life. You know, maybe not realizing that, oh, things are okay, but just kind of going day to day, and it's like, well, okay, you know, we've got our house, we've got our family, we've got our jobs, and then this all of a sudden this thing was service space almost 2.5 years ago, on a whim. Well, not much on a whim, thanks to Vishesh. You know, you kind of go there and then kind of just listen to the stories and just realize, okay, there is more to what I do, and then trying to question, it's like, okay, what is it I'm teaching, and what's the purpose of it? The other day, a student, not of mine, but he says, Mr. Soul, he's like, why do we learn matrices? And I'm like, that's a good question. You know, it's a student not going into computer science, you're not going down that path, and I said, well, you know, sometimes it's just about, you know, learning different ways of thinking, but I think the most important thing, and to me, which I discovered in my teaching, was not necessarily the subject. When people ask me what I teach, I usually say, oh, I teach kindness, and I hope that's the you know, message I try to convey to parents the most, is that you know, it's not about the grade your child receives or how they did on any one thing, but you know, it's who the person they are becoming, and their character. With all that being said, I would love to, you know, if I made the comment, I don't know if Kunal read it, but you know, what he's doing with science in the videos, I think, is just a wonderful thing. I watched the food video, Where Does Food Come From, and just how he traced that all the way back to the farmer. We have a farmer's market here, and I thought about going up there and saying, hey, where did this food come from? But trying to do that with math, and I was thinking, it's like, why do I enjoy math? And as I'm driving around, what can I do? You know, what can I do with this to sort of, because I'm making videos for another organization. Actually, they're being used in India, but they're like Khan Academy videos where you're just kind of, you know, writing stuff and explaining stuff. And I thought, well, you know, what could be a different experience for them? And I just thought, oh, that what Kunal is doing is just a wonderful thing. So I'm grateful for having this call, and I think Kunal's gonna be around for a couple more weeks, right, Kunal?
He's nodding and saying yes. Unmute.
But,
Thank you, Bradley. You know, and my thought is that maybe you guys, you know, as a teacher yourself, and having put so much heart and soul into your teaching and your kids, that maybe you guys might want to get together at some point and talk about this stuff. And I'm sure you know how to connect with each other. So thank you. So I think, has everybody gone? I haven't sort of put in my 2 cents real quickly. My answer to the question, I'm also sort of from Silicon Valley to somewhere else story, that as I was closing up my Silicon Valley business, 3 years ago, I found myself asking myself, well, what do I do next? And what I was basically doing for a living was facilitating. I was facilitating conversations among business executives, and what I loved most about that was that I love hearing people get together and having this kind of experience, you know, where we all come away with a bigger picture than we the one we walked in with. What I wasn't so fond of is the purpose. The purpose was so each corporation could help them make more money, you know. And I'm not against money, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't what my life passion was. So when I turned 70, I began to realize, oh, maybe I could do the same thing that I'm good at and I like to do with different people, with people who've dedicated themselves to service. And, you know, so I feel very blessed that I get to do that at this point in my life.